That's right, folks. It's History's Pitchman, 80s Cool, and we are back on the road once again. This time, we are in the Palmetto State, South Carolina specifically. Right behind me, folks, is Fort Sumter. That's right, the linchpin of the American Civil War. Get a load of this.
Constructed in 1829, Fort Sumter is actually an artificial island in Charleston Harbor built to shore up Atlantic defenses against those imperial scoundrels, the British. Can you believe the nerve of them? But by December of 1860, South Carolina has seceded from the Union, and the Union stronghold at Fort Sumter was in the heart of enemy territory.
You want to go ahead and have a little look-see? I thought you might. Follow me.
In the early months of 1861, U.S. President James Buchanan tried and failed to resupply Fort Sumter as rebel Brigadier General P.G.T. Beauregard himself strengthened Confederate forces around Charleston and effectively laid siege to this lonely island fortress. In April of 1861, the South Carolina governor, Francis Pickens, demanded Union forces at Sumter surrender. But you know who had just been inaugurated the 16th president of the United States? The Midwestern boy himself. That's right, the pride of Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois. Abe Lincoln himself. Honest Abe ordered Fort Sumter resupplied. This rebellion would not stand.
And over my shoulder, off in the distance about a mile away, on the land you see back there is where Fort Johnson once stood. On the morning of April 12th, 1865, the opening salvo was fired on this ground, on this hallowed ground right here, and the massive bloodletting known as the American Civil War had begun. And it would be 4 more years of bloody fighting in places like Gettysburg, the Wilderness, and Shenandoah before Ulysses S. Grant, old unconditional surrender himself, drove old Dixie down and restored order to the Union. In 1863, folks, the United States Navy actually shelled Fort Sumter briefly during a battle. The United States Navy had those great Monitor-class ships. They were mostly underwater, their hulls were mostly underwater, and they had those great 360-degree turrets. In February of 1865, none other than William Tecumseh Sherman, during his legendary March to the Sea, was advancing from the north. The city of Charleston, and this fort right here where I'm standing, was evacuated. It was back in Union hands. This is History's Pitchman, 80s Aquila, coming to you from the legendary citadel, Fort Sumter in Charleston Bay in the Palmetto State of South Carolina. And if you dig these history videos, go ahead and hit that YouTube subscribe button, leave me a like, and leave me a comment.